Alright, so finally taking a look at the full release. Now, if you played the early access beta or the server slam, once you get the full version, really is not a huge big difference. It will very much feel similar, but I will say the server issue at the moment right now is pretty much non-existent. It is very excellent. The first time it launched, I booted up no problem, only wait a couple minutes to log into battle.net and then just booted up the game fine, no lines. Turned it off that day. The very next day, I was able to log in with no line, no issue at all, and it is running flawless right now. Though that's not to say that there won't be any issue during the official launch, but if I was to compare to the very first early access beta to the early access for the full release, this is incredibly much smoother, no lines, and the game runs great. And I think it runs a little bit better, well optimized. And it could be the driver. Make sure you grab the latest driver that was just released for this game. So everything in the graphics setting is pretty much the same as far as can tell. It does support DLSS2 and DLSS3 frame generation. HDR is still in there, but it doesn't look quite as nice. It's still very washed out in certain areas, especially in the snowy area. It looks a bit washed out. That hasn't been addressed. Overall, the HDR is okay. Only in this game, it is not great. The game still appears to be using a lot of VRAM, just like in the beta. I am playing at 3440 by 1440p ultra wide. Originally, it had it set at ultra setting, and over time, it was using up about 20 gig of VRAM on my 4090. I went to the setting and I set it to the preset medium, and it did drop it down to 8 gig, and then switched it to high, and went up to 10 gig, and then I reverted back to ultra, and it seems to hover around 12 gig or so, but then over time it just went back to around the 20 gig again. So it seems like it could be a memory leak issue that's never been addressed, but just keep in mind that this game does use a lot of VRAM even at lower resolution. So you will have to play around with this graphic setting a bit if you only have 10 gig or lower VRAM. Now, currently, the game only has windowed or window full screen, so if you're looking forward to using DLDSR, you're out of luck without having to change your desktop resolution to a higher one. Unfortunately, they took it out for some reason during the beta access as people were experiencing some crash, so hopefully the full screen option will get added in at a later patch. Now, when you install the game, the HD texture pack is automatically checked. If you don't have a system that can utilize that, or you just don't care about it, make sure to uncheck it so you don't spend some bandwidth or waste time downloading roughly about 40 gig of extra data. How you do that is you just bring up the battle.net, go to Diablo 4, and then just click on the cog button, and then choose the modify install, and then hit modify install, and then just uncheck high resolution asset. Alright, and that's all you have to do. As for the control, the mouse and keyboard works just fine, and you can rebind all the keys. Highly recommend using a controller if you have middle-aged fingers like mine. After a little bit of time, it does get a little bit tiring, and the controller works really well. I'm a little surprised when it comes to these type of games. But yeah, I'd highly recommend it. It does change the prompt depending on what control you have. If you have a PS5, it does automatically change to the PS5 prompt, and to the Xbox vice versa. So when it comes to ultra wide, nothing has changed there. The game does support 21:9 natively in menus, gameplay, and everything else, except for cutscene. There are some cutscenes that are displaying 16:9, so it's kind of a mix. You get some 16:9, you get some 21:9. If you're on 32:9, unfortunately, nothing has changed as well. You will be getting black bars on both sides in everything. As for the game itself, it is pretty quick to just get in and out of the game. The only time that you're presented with the shop is if you purposely click on the shop option. Never once did I encounter any kind of advertisement or it was kind of in my face. And that is very good. And the shop is just full of cosmetic for your character. nothing too crazy. I have not seen the battle pass yet, so I think that will launch once the full the official release. But overall, this is a good Diablo game. It is a very safe Diablo game, combining Diablo 2 and 3, with really no new classes, and a lot of the skills are very similar to the previous game. So again, it is a very safe Diablo, but it is a very good Diablo. So if you decide to pick it up, I don't think you can go wrong with it. I do see myself playing this game for a pretty long time, definitely a lot longer than Diablo 3. Alright guys, that will wrap up this video, and like always, appreciate you guys watching to the end, and I will see you on a next video, and I think that will be Street Fighter 6. I'm also playing along with it with this game, and it's a lot of fun as well. Until then, I'll see you in the next one. Bye.